Hi there, I'm Griffin with Silvera Consulting. Welcome to our micro lesson series, quick tips and tools for service providers looking to enhance and make their services more accessible to ORR eligible communities in California. I am a DOJ fully accredited representative authorized to practice immigration law before the Department of Homeland Security, the Immigration Courts, and the Board of Immigration Appeals. My practice of immigration law focuses on family and humanitarian-based immigration legal matters. In today's short video, we'll discuss several key immigration statuses relevant to service providers working with ORR-eligible communities. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of these statuses and how they differ. But before we jump in, I want to go over a few disclaimers. The information presented here is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice or guidance on benefits eligibility. It's important to remember that there is no single story. Clients may possess one or multiple overlapping immigration statuses. Many asylum seekers, for instance, may also be TPS beneficiaries or be classified as Cuban Haitian entrants. Every individual is unique and every case is unique. So though the facts of a client's immigration story or case may appear remarkably similar to those of another client, outcomes will often vary. The immigration statuses being presented here are non-exhaustive. This is not a complete list of every possible immigration status. In the interest of brevity, we're only presenting some of the more common statuses that you may encounter in your work. So let's jump in. Let's start with refugees. So as a general term and in everyday language, refugee simply means someone who has fled their home country to find safety. But under US immigration law, refugee has a very specific legal meaning and in fact is lawful immigration status. This is a person outside of their country of nationality who's unable or unwilling to return to that country because of past persecution or a well-founded fear of persecution on account of one of these 5 protected grounds. Refugees have traditionally entered the US through the Refugee Admissions Program with the assistance of a nonprofit refugee resettlement agency. In recent years, the US government began exploring a private refugee sponsorship model as well. After they arrive, refugees are authorized to live and work in the United States indefinitely, but must apply for lawful permanent residency or a green card after 1 year of physical presence. Now let's look at the difference between asylum seekers and asylees. 2 terms that sound similar but carry very different meanings. An asylum seeker is someone who has fled persecution and is now asking for protection here in the United States. But unlike those who enter the country as refugees or with refugee status, their case hasn't yet been decided because asylum seekers arrive to the US first and then apply for asylum. Asylum seekers must generally apply for asylum within 1 year of arrival, though there are some exceptions to that 1 year filing deadline. To be granted asylum, an applicant for asylum must meet the definition of a refugee as described on the previous slide. Asylum, refugee status, almost 2 sides of the same coin, although there are differences as well. Asylum is granted on a case-by-case basis. And as I mentioned before, every individual is unique and every case is unique. While waiting for their asylum application to be adjudicated, asylum seekers can apply for employment authorization. It's important to note, however, that asylum seeker is a general term. It is not an immigration term. It's not a legal immigration status as defined by law. Once the US government approves an application for asylum, that individual becomes an asylee, or one who has been granted asylum, meaning they've been granted the right to remain in the United States permanently. Asylees may apply for lawful permanent residency after 1 year of physical presence in the United States. Next, we have humanitarian parole, a temporary permission granted by the US government to essentially permit someone to physically enter the country who may not otherwise qualify to do so under immigration law. And this is for urgent humanitarian reasons or for significant public benefit. It's not a visa. It's not a direct pathway to lawful permanent residency on its own. There have been, over the last several years, several programs that have been designed for large group parole or large group parole programs. There have been several family reunification parole processes. There was the Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, Venezuelan parole processes established under the previous administration. And then there have been parole programs benefiting Central American minors, Afghan evacuees, and those fleeing the conflict in Ukraine. Each of these parole programs has had its own set of eligibility criteria and timelines. Parole is granted on an individual basis and can be granted outside of one of these parole processes as well. Now, parole, as I mentioned, doesn't automatically lead to permanent residency, but it can provide a lawful entry, a record of lawful entry necessary for adjustment of status later. Temporary protected status, or TPS, is another humanitarian protection, but it's tied to conditions in a specific country, not to an individual's personal story of persecution. And that is how it differs from asylum itself. The US may designate a country for TPS if it's unsafe for its nationals here in the United States to return there because of armed conflict, environmental disaster, or for other extraordinary and temporary conditions. It's granted to eligible nationals or stateless individuals who last resided in a TPS designated country. It's generally designated for 18 months at a time, and it may be extended, redesignated, or terminated by the government. Once granted TPS, a beneficiary is not removable from the United States, may apply for employment authorization, may be granted travel authorization, cannot be detained by Homeland Security on the basis of immigration status alone. As I mentioned previously, TPS may exist alongside other immigration statuses. So it's very common that someone with TPS may also have parole or have previously had parole. A TPS beneficiary may also be an asylum seeker with a pending asylum application. Because TPS does not prevent a beneficiary from seeking another immigration benefit or protection. Moving on now to Cuban Haitian entrants. Now, this is not an immigration status. It's primarily a benefits eligibility designation that was created by the Refugee Education Assistance Act of 1980. It's defined at 45 CFR, section 401.2. It includes individuals paroled into the US as Cuban Haitian entrants, nationals of Cuba or Haiti who are in removal proceedings, immigration court proceedings, nationals of Cuba or Haiti with pending asylum applications, and those paroled and without other immigration status. The key takeaway from this is that Cuban Haitian entrant status, while it may make certain individuals eligible for benefits and services under refugee programs, it's not a permanent immigration status. And there is no direct pathway to permanent status through Cuban Haitian entrant status, although some Cuban nationals may later qualify for adjustment of status, which is lawful permanent residency through the Cuban Adjustment Act, if they meet all applicable requirements. Let's recap some of the key differences between these categories. Refugee status and asylee status are both legal statuses that are indefinite, and they lead to permanent residency and eventually U.S. citizenship for those who qualify. Asylum seekers arrive to the U.S. first and then apply for asylum. Parolees are granted temporary entry for urgent humanitarian reasons or for public benefit. TPS recipients are protected from removal due to unsafe conditions in their home countries. And Cuban Haitian entrants qualify for certain benefits, even without permanent status. Understanding these distinctions helps service providers connect clients with the right resources, benefits, and pathways, ensuring everyone receives the support they need. It is essential that clients connect with reputable legal counsel, such as licensed immigration attorneys or DOJ accredited representatives, to ascertain what they may qualify for here in the United States and to help guide them through their immigration processes. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please share your feedback through our survey link and check out additional guides and webinars at Support Guide. Thanks for watching this micro lesson from Solvera, your partner in impact.